Hey, it's prime. We're 3 balls in, then we 3 balls out. We all up on your screens like it's prime time's route. Mighty gets the scoring. Oh, and PJ start to scout. Your rhyme's really trash. What do you think he's damn fouls? TBI the show, so buckle down, sit back. And Jay we trust, cause he's the leader of the pack. It's prime, Jupiter.
This is TBI 3 Balls In alongside Davo and Logan. This is PJ's. We're back at it again. We're the podcast you all love and know. It's everything you've been dreaming of. It is us talking about League Week number 2 in the books. 3 games all at one time on 2 different fields. Davo, a dream come true for you. Of course, we'll talk about some rule institutions that our commissioner is going to allow us to announce today. But for now, this is us talking about League Week number 2. Let's talk about the game of the week, which featured 2 undefeated teams. I know it's only 1 game in the book, but 2 undefeated teams. Maybe the 2 best teams in Jubal, arguably stating themselves. You got the Dogs versus the Bop. Davo, you played in that game. Give us some of the main highlights from that game.
Well, we went to the game. At least a couple of people on this couch were pretty positive that Bop would overcome the challenges of the Dogs, and we were correct. So PJ's just striking, but whatever. I think all in all, it was actually a pretty good game. It's like you said, it's a heavyweight matchup, a potential future championship matchup. We'll see how the outcomes come, if it'll be in the championship, whatever. But 2, I think, heavy favorites in the playoffs. Feet got hands. We need to talk about this. Here's a guy. He's not playing quarterback in the leagues anymore. Schedule changes that happens to a lot of people. So he gets drafted. He went in the last round, didn't complain, didn't say anything about it, didn't get up and talk. But I think he was highly noticed. Definitely my pick for Jubal of that game. Talking about 2 touchdowns, a big first down catch, played great defense, which was a big knock on him last year. The top was when we said when Fight had to play defense, it was detrimental to the team. I don't think he was at all. I think he played a great game altogether. So feet got hands. Just remember that. 2 big touchdowns, including the game winner. Legs is really good.
Yeah,
Legs is really good. I never understood how good he was until I matched up with him. The guy's a freak. He's fast, he's strong, he's shifty, you don't think he's a high football IQ player. And we played a great game. It was a great matchup, and Bop just came out on top this time.
Yeah, I mean, Logan, that was honestly it was a back and forth game, right? What was the final score? 3-2.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was anyone's game. And you saw there was a lot
of
of
extra points, by the way.
Right,
scored by either team.
And you just have that intensity, right? Both teams going back and forth. And, there were some arguments on the field, some calls on the field. But at the end of the day, this is what leagues is supposed to bring out the best in all of us. What an unbelievable matchup and game. Being on the other side of the field, just sort of glancing over, you couldn't help but wanting to watch this game and being a spectator versus being a player, because that's how good the matchup was. One thing I want to touch upon, Davo, and I think this is just something to kind of talk about, is calls, right? You've been someone on TBI who said, just don't make the call, just don't make the calls. Specifically, you made a call in this game, right? Why did you feel it was necessary to make this call? And I think you got I think the Dogs kind of felt like it was a wrong call or bad call or not the right call at the right time. Just talk to us about that call.
In the moment, it's hard not to make the call, because it happens so fast. You're talking about high speeds, and it happens. The first thing that pops in your head is that's the call. Second, it's in a regular week you play for yourself. The game doesn't necessarily matter at the end of the day. But when you're playing in leagues, it matters a little bit more, because it's not just you, it's everybody on your team as well. So those are kind of things that are running through someone's head when they're making a call. At least I did. It's hard not to, as making the call, it's hard not to make a call for your team. Obviously on this play, there are possibilities that it could have led to the touchdown. The call was made right away, so people did ease up on the play. But and there's no right or wrong answer to making the call or not making the call. I know Logan's gonna say just don't make the call. That's the right answer, but it's again you have to think about the whole team and the whole game itself. You could say no, but again, that's what I was thinking in that time period.
For our viewers,
and I still stand by my call.
For our viewers, right? What was the potential outcome had you not made that call?
It could have been
Might score a touchdown.
Yeah, well,
Could have. He scored a touchdown.
Well, pray stop the play because I called it right away, and I did pull my flags over my head just for you, Jordan, because I love you.
Okay, so you're saying your call may have taken away a touchdown. And what happened on that ensuing drive?
Nothing.
They end up
they turned over the ball.
They turned the ball over. Okay, I mean, so that
the ball don't lie.
Right. So, listen, so the call obviously had an impact on the game. You know, again, not saying it's a bad, not saying it's a wrong call.
Necessarily didn't have the impact to play. The penalty had an impact on the play. So if you don't want the call to be made, don't make the penalty.
Right. Okay. But again, you've been someone who's been proponent of saying, don't make the call, don't make the call. So maybe your opinion is don't make the call, but if it's egregious, then you can make the call.
Well, I think I was always on the fence.
That's okay.
That
is fair. That's a very fair point.
And I think if you actually go back, it's saying that the blatant ones usually are going to be called. You know, listen, if it's completely accidental, you know, I hate the ones that they call when the guys are running and his hand is behind him. You know, he doesn't even see. You'll see that I say you can't directly go for the hands or the wrists blatantly.
Did so yeah, like calls are calls. Did was Prime the only one who didn't play from your team?
And Ernie was not there.
And Ernie,
but you got a special appearance from Fight. Obviously, if he played,
but Fight's on the team. Fight's drafted by that.
And then you have Justin.
That I think is terrible.
Justin is why? Why is that terrible that Justin?
They were able to field 7 guys from their team. You don't get to bring an 8th. I don't think you should. I think you have 7 players from your team, then you don't get an 8th.
I'm pretty sure every team showed up with an 8th.
No, but 8th of guys that they drafted.
No, not necessarily.
Cronies had 7. We didn't have anyone on the bench.
I'm just saying, like, I think unless you can't field 7, unless you we brought in guys
but again,
out of the team, but
see why I disagree with you and that why an 8th is important. And this is actually could be a good time.
Not important. It's not a matter of important, it's a matter of fair. Like, you play your team.
Essentially, yes. But if an injury goes down, then the game is over.
No. If an injury goes down, you either take it from the sideline or you have to play with 6. That's
you can play with 6.
You could. You're at a disadvantage.
On a regular Jupiter week, you play 7. So there's no 8th player. Why would leagues be any different?
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like, either you pull someone from the sideline at that point, like, don't bring that person in, and that person definitely shouldn't be able to play until someone gets hurt. Like, if you want to say he'll come and just wait till someone gets hurt, that's one thing. But to have an extra player who's not on your team just because you drafted someone who can't always play, I think it's bullshit. Like, I do. I'm just saying, forget about the calls. Like, I don't think a team should be able to bring down someone else if you can have 7 of your drafted players.
I think this is an interesting topic for another show. I think let's move on because there's a lot of games we have to go over. It's an interesting topic. I hear where you're coming from.
It makes you feel better. He showed up an hour late.
That's what I heard.
He played 2 or 3 drives. But
either way, let's move on to the other game. To the other game that played at Hewlett. We're actually going to shift there, which was also a super close matchup featuring Snow, the MVP himself, going against Yaron. Again, it's not these 2 players. You have the Crocs versus the Lionhearts. And honestly, you got the number 1 pick in Zin playing with Snow. They lost their first game, not looking so great together. Could they rebound? And then Yaron, who got the win week 1 in a dominating factor, could he come back and replicate that performance again? And here you had a 21-18 victory for the Crocs over the Lionhearts. Shocked by that performance by Snow?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not shocked. Obviously, I predicted Lionhearts to win that game. Couple of factors. Number 1 is I think we actually see how important Fox is to that team, both on offense and on defense. Number 2 is, and we've been talking about it all year with Mighty doing Mighty things. Well, Zin is finally doing Zin things. He put up 3 touchdowns, like he's finally an X factor in the game. And quite frankly, we always knew that Zin was going to be able to put up Zin stuff. It was a question of how quickly could Snow get up to speed, both with everyone else in Jupiter, but more importantly on his team. And Snow is proving to us that he gets that rust off real fast.
And
like he's coming back to his form now, not necessarily MVP form because we have some other leaders in that pack for this season, but he is coming back to who he used to be in Jew Ball, and that is fabulous for both leagues, but for Jew Ball as a whole.
And Snow went a little old school, bringing back Jesus into the fray, and Jesus showed up and played a line for the team. So there you go, for the Crocs, bringing some old school into the Jew Ball here with Jesus, and I think Jesus had a sack. Right, like he had a pretty good performance, or maybe he had a really cool tackle that was on the video. But like, great to see Jesus back out there.
And for a 2023-year-old, he's moving great.
That's true. And his birthday's coming up pretty soon. There you go. Davo, your thoughts on that game?
Well, like you said, Jesus saved the day. You know, I hope Robin feels better, but you know, it's a good thing Jesus was there because he actually ended up filling for Robin on the other side for the Lionhearts. Zin was doing Zin things. The guy's a freak of nature. He's so athletic. He's so good. Like I said previously, the Crocs had the ability. I know I went with the Lionhearts and I should have trusted my gut and I should have went with the Crocs. I said they had the ability to flip the switch. They had the ability to. They ended up winning 4-3. I said they would lose 4-3. I said they had the ability to flip the switch. Lionhearts, they're like you said, I think they're missing Fox, but they have to just get this rhythm going. I think, like I said, they played the Purple Cobras, which wasn't a real team. So now they play the Crocs. I think they still have time to gel. The problem with Jew Ball season being so short is you only have those few games to start gelling before playoffs are coming in.
Right, it's true.
And with this season, with having only 4 teams making it, you don't want to be left off. You don't want to be that team that's left out because we have some very good teams this season.
I think this also might have been a look past game for the Lionhearts.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that they're probably potentially thinking about, you know, week 3 matchups and things like that. And I think that, you know, after such a strong performance in week 1, that may have kind of led them to be a little bit more, you know, overconfident or whatnot. It also just could have been, you know, sometimes guys have bad games, but I do think that really the boil down was missing Fox and how important he is to Lionhearts. And quite frankly, you know, going forward, I think that's going to be, you know, a big indicator or a big litmus test barometer, if you will, whether or not he's playing.
Also, I just want to shout out a few players in that game. Dobbs with a big pick in the game. There were a few other picks, right? I think Zin had some picks. Jack had 2 picks, right? So not to forget that, like, obviously the quarterbacks were not super accurate in this game. Defense was definitely going on a lot in this game. But again, you have 2 good teams matched up against each other. Interesting enough, the matchup was 2 former teammates going up against each other in Dax versus Zin. And the truth is, you know, both players had decent games. So Zin obviously having a great
Zin
game.
got the better,
you know, Dax obviously had a good game. You know, not too shabby.
Yeah.
Right, not too shabby. But again, you know, this was this was good for the league, honestly. Like Crocs winning, you know, not going 0-2, 1-1. The parity in the league is good. Like a bunch of 1-1 teams is awesome. And speaking of 1-1 teams, I think it's a great time to transition to, honestly, probably the least, you know, score-wise, the least interesting game of the week, but good for the Cronies to get a win, right? Losing the first game, getting some guys back for this game as well, almost at full strength in terms of the roster. I make my real debut for the season. And Gronk getting some familiarity with his team, hitting up Storm 3 times for touchdowns, one of them coming off the hands of Tommy, who's a future Jew baller. So Steph, you know, our man Sting, thank you for bringing Tommy to Jew Ball. He belongs here. He's definitely a Jew baller. Probably one of the greatest plays he made in the game was like solo over the middle, catching the ball. Tommy with like no fear at all, literally just bodies him, strips the ball out of his hands, incomplete. I don't think I've seen anybody outside of maybe Munch who's willing to go toe-to-toe with Solo. And this guy did it. And he did it well. Like, just, I was in awe.
Yeah, but that wasn't the best play of the game.
I'll talk to us about the best play of the game.
The best play of the game was right here.
All right, so to set it up, we were basically rushing 3 most of the game. And I'm on the line with 2 young superstars. I mean, Open is a star. Right, the number 3 pick in our league, right? He is the star. Dax, the 3rd round pick. Like, this is an all-star line. And then you got the old 8th rounder, PJs, lining up with them, going up against Solo, going against Spira, going against Whiskey. And in this particular play, we blitz, we run up the middle. And if you look right here, Spira like runs away from me.
Yeah, it looked like the Red Sea split.
I'm not sure where Spira's going. I guess he's just that scared of Daxi. And of course, I tackle Perla. Perla and I spoke after the game, but I want to do publicly apologize. The goal is to grab the flags, everybody. I know what flags. So I will do my best going forward to try to go for the flags. I will say this. Sometimes it's hard to resist the tackle, especially in that moment. Like, you just want to make sure the quarterback can't get the ball off. But again, my apologies to Perla. No intent to hurt. I was just so excited I got so quick to the quarterback. It was kind of like bang, bang.
You didn't expect to be there. I mean, you
Right.
would think that someone would block you.
Exactly.
But they just like, you were just, you took your name literal, Moses, you split the sea and just went
right up the middle.
You also like ended up colliding with him. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you ended up wrapping him up, but like,
it's tough.
It was more so that like he didn't move and you were moving. You know what I mean? And like that just kind of causes
you see
a flag grab.
You see, when Big E sacked Gronk,
Gronk
gosh. Gave Big E a hug. When you sacked Pearl, you gave Pearl a hug.
True.
It's true.
By the way, it was so nice. Like, I'm playing receiver down the field trying to figure out what happened. But I see Gronk like excited cheering. Like, you see, it's a Hanukkah miracle when Gronk is just like dancing with Big E, giving him a hug. It's like, listen. Big E's getting some respect here. Guys, get 3 sacks in the first week. Another sack this week. So that's 4 sacks in 2 league games, averaging 2 sacks a game at this point. So
premier lineman.
Big E's doing it. He's doing big things for the Purple Cobras.
Big E does things for me.
Zada, by the way, unbelievable game. Zada, unbelievable game. 2 picks. Basically happened like one drive after the other. Zada was all over the place. Zada had this like unbelievable game, right? 2 picks. Goldberg also on his side had 2 picks, and then Mike scored like the consolation touchdown of the game. It ended up being a blowout, 40-6, 42-6, something like that. It was obviously not it was a fun game to play when you're on the winning side. Obviously a frustrating game for Purple Cobras. They're 0-2. They've got some soul searching to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and this is definitely going to come off as a knock on Perla. Not necessarily his fault. Obviously, it's his first year drafting, but I think when you look back at how he constituted his team, if any of his wide receiving core is not there that day, it puts his team automatically in a hole. I think that, if he had to look back on it, I think he probably has 1 or 2 too many linemen.
Yeah.
And again, some of them in the later rounds, he just took best available player, and that's not necessarily his fault. But I think earlier in the draft, you may have thought just an additional wide receiver, an additional corner, instead of, let's say, what might have been a top talent lineman. I'm not talking about the solo pick, but I'm saying a little bit farther down in the draft, he may have wanted to go a little bit more in the wide receiver free safety section. And again, that's just growing pains of first year in the league.
And ironically, Goldberg kind of played corner. And you would say, well, he had 2 picks, so maybe that was a great place to play Goldberg. That happened towards the end of the game, right? Gronk threw 6 touchdowns. Like, Gronk is, I think, even though Storm had 3 touchdowns.
Gronk was getting bored at that point. Like,
right. I mean, Gronk honestly is the Jew baller of the game. Like, even though Storm had this great 3 touchdown game, Gronk was really just firing all cylinders. Hit me for a touchdown, like you predicted. Right. So
he hit everyone for a touchdown.
Bro, yeah. I mean, like, and here's the best part, though, right? Like, Goldberg has those 2 picks, but he's better at linebacker, not at corner. And I think that just makes a huge difference because you're not going to throw the ball in the middle of the field with Goldberg there. That's how good
it makes it that much harder.
That's how good Goldberg is on defense. So, Solo also playing linebacker. Solo's better fit to play line. Like, I think, you challenge Daxi a little bit in the offensive line by having Solo there rush. Solo's forced to play linebacker now where he belongs. Whiskey also, I think, is more of a lineman. So they got to figure that part out, who they're rotating in, who they're rotating out. Listen, we don't have the advantage of a 17-game schedule where, you can figure things out after week 3 or week 4. Perla's got to get this team. He's going to rally this team. He's got to really show his leadership skills. Sharp missing is a huge deal for
that's
them.
what I was going to say. Sheriff not being there is a big deal. And it's not just a player. It's probably, it's Goldberg and it's Sharp or Sheriff as like his 2 wide receiving guys. It's also like Sharp is going to be one of his main, DBs, allowing Goldberg to play the middle.
Exactly.
It changes the entire. If either of those 2 guys are not on the field, it changes the dynamic of the team of what they can do on defense. And I think that again, if either of them are not there, that they're severely handicapped. It is what it is, and things we'll learn from next year. But I think like that is kind of a lesson to be learned in just when thinking about how to constitute and how to make up a team.
Because Perla has to just get something going here. Like his defense is putting him behind the 8 ball before his offense is even going to get a chance. And in this league, it's about the defense first, and then the offense is going to come next. Putting you in better field position, getting turnovers, making those critical stops. If you can't do that, you're already toasted before the game.
Yep.
Not like Prime gets toasted, but a different kind of toasted.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Listen, we're gonna move on because I think like your game had some calls, and I think every game has calls week after week. Give a lot of credit to Jordan, who I think really, I wouldn't say that Sunday was the straw that broke the camel's back, but I think it was just about time where Jordan felt like change was necessary. And these are some proposed I shouldn't say proposed rules. These are some rules that Jordan is planning on instituting. I think some will like, some will maybe disagree with, and we'll have an opportunity to discuss it here.
At least we'll have an opportunity to discuss it.
The chat is also available. And, listen, Jordan, I think
there's a chat for that.
Listen, Jordan is trying to do what's best for Jubal.
Right.
And doing what's best for the future of Jubal. So, number one, for league games in particular, okay?
This is just to be clear, this is just league games.
Yeah, this is just for league games.
By the way, don't fight during regular games, but it's more impactful during league games. Again,
Jordan is planning on having a neutral person for ball placement calls, meaning catch or no catch, first down, in and out, sack pass, got off.
Yeah.
So his plan is to have basically somebody standing on the line to make neutral, meaning not playing in the game, and someone who can legitimately just have the right,
But that, to be clear, that person is not saying anything unless there's an argument.
Correct.
So, like, for example, if let's say both teams spot the ball and the independent person thinks it's the wrong spot, but both teams think it's the right spot, that independent person is saying nothing.
I think that would need to be clarified with Jordan.
I think you should let everyone play until there's if both teams think it's the right spot, who cares if it's wrong? It's right.
But this person should have a spot no matter what. So then when the argument does come up in place, they're ready to jump in.
In their head, it should be the 39. Right. Teams agree to the 41, so be it. Who cares? But if one team says it's the 39 and one team says it's the 41, then they can come in and say, hey, it's the 39.
Also, don't make the call before we need you for the call, right? We're looking for a referee. We're looking for someone to sort of be impartial, to sort of be like that, sounding voice.
But again, as essentially the third vote, if you will, to answer it. Keep going.
All right, for number 2, for personal calls, this means flag guard, holding, PI, blocking the back. The usual rules apply, which is don't make the call.
Don't make the call.
Definitely don't make a bad call. And respect the call, even a bad one. However, we're going to institute 2 new rules on this. A, the person who made the call, or the call was made on, and only that person is looked at after the call is made. He can affirm or appeal the call. If he appeals the call, he and the penalty caller have a 30-second private conversation off the field, or off to the side of the field.
Off to the side.
At the end of the 30 seconds, the penalty caller can pick up his flag. If he doesn't call stands.
So just instead of he said. So for example, in the flag guard call with Mighty and Davo.
Yes.
Davo called flag guard on Mighty. So play is dead. Mighty and Davo either go to the sideline or just away from everyone else, and they chat for 30 seconds. If Mighty can reason with Davo, and I'm not saying that this is the right answer, but I'm saying if Mighty talks to Davo and says, hey, Davo wasn't, and they both agree, Davo has after 30 seconds, Davo has the opportunity to pick up the flag and the call is removed. If after 30, and literally only 30 seconds, but if after 30 seconds, Davo still says no as a flag guard, doesn't matter. The call stands flag guard, and then we move on. No one else is involved in the yes, it is, no, it's not. Those 2 have 30 seconds. And again, unless Mighty in this example could have convinced Davo it wasn't, the call's going to stand, and that's it.
Then here's the other, I guess you could say, the kicker of this all, right? If
There's no
anyone
difference.
else argues the call besides the person who was called against, they're going to get what's called a technical foul.
Not if it
On
goes
your
against
third
them.
technical foul, you're going to miss the next league game, even the postseason. 0 arguments, not one word. This way, there are repercussions for arguing. So the only person that can appeal is the person who's called against.
Correct.
But it needs to be respectful and a conversation is off to the side. No one else on the field can say anything, or a technical foul will be called.
And I'd even sorry, not done.
No.
I would argue that those 3 technicals should be cumulative across the season. Because you're not going to get 3 in one game. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So, but I would say,
No,
I'm saying it should
I think
follow
it is.
you.
It is.
Yeah.
Meaning it's
But
gonna,
only 4 leagues.
Right. Yeah. Again, this doesn't
only
apply
applies
to
to-
week.
well, and by the way, just to clarify, that does include captain. Like, it doesn't make a difference who you are. If you're arguing, you're getting involved in any argument or any part of it. Like, you just, if call's made, just keep your mouth shut. That's what it is. Let the 2 people the call was made on or against, let them duel it out and duke it out and figure it out on the sideline.
And 30 seconds. It's quick.
Yeah, listen, I have to be honest with you. When I first read the rules, I was a little bit like, do we really at a point where we have to? And
Hopefully not.
I think honestly, like, at this point, I've watched and seen so many arguments on the field. I think it's necessary, right? The league's evolving in so many good, positive ways. Let's not let camaraderie and what we do on the field, the great things happening in the field, get distracted by the negativity.
Yeah.
And I like to think that most of us, even let's say Monday, it's after the game, it's already kind of over, but there's always the after chat that will happen. But I think by Monday, everyone's moved on. No one cares. The next game is happening. I don't think most people will carry on to the next game or the next game, etc.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think like most people eventually let it go, and it doesn't trickle over to the following week.
I think.
Yeah, listen. It's definitely, I think, the right direction to go in. Listen, you don't want to be the guy who gets the first technical, but there will be.
I bet you it's Gronk.
No, I bet you no one gets a technical. 3 is a lot.
I bet you Gronk gets it on purpose.
Oh well, that could be. But I think tracking on the website would be interesting. So at the end of the season, we could really see who made the most calls, and we could even give it an award on the website, like worst person award.
Gentlemen, Hanukkah party is tonight. We're stoked. We're excited. It's going to happen. It's one of the best events of the year. And inside of Jubal, outside of Jubal, of course, all 3 of us will be there. Davo, what do we have to do this week?
Sign up for week 10. Signups are now available. I know everyone is still recovering from that league week. It's been rough. It's been beautiful. I know a lot of us are sore, but sign up if you can, if you're ready. And don't also forget about Week Leak, the debut band of the Jubal family. We're excited. We're stoked. We're gonna do something. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad.
That'll be good.
To share TBI with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, watch, etc. Don't forget, like I said, to wrap up your presents. Do it nicely. Come on, guys.
And if you haven't made your way over to Allen's or Glick's, what are you waiting for?
You got 2 days left. Let's go. Get over there. Make it happen.
Don't forget the party tonight, as he mentioned. As well, guys, happy Hanukkah again from our couch to yours. We truly love everyone here. Go Bop. 3 balls out.
We are 3 balls in, and we are now 3 balls out. Have a great week, everybody.
This was not.
That's true.
But
I
just
feel like we're back to like 3 stats in. We're like, I'm not just striking out every time.
no, but you got it right.
I know.
This is TBI 3 balls in alongside Davo and Logan.
No.
No, I needed that.
Was it offsides?
He's not Kadarius Toney, right?
By the way, you heard what Rex Ryan said about the offsides?
What?
He said it's finally found a toe that I didn't like.
Yeah, right.
All right, number 2. For personal calls.
Why'd you look at me when you said number 2?
So, all right.
Because he thinks you're crap.
That's what I'm saying.
Blackguard.
Number 2 work for. I also I'd like to think that in Jubal, I think we are mature adults and not like in
we have a podcast called Three Balls In.
we are mature about things.
And with one of us
As
having
adults.
actually experienced TBI. All right, boys, we got something really exciting that's going to happen tonight because we're all watching this tomorrow. Something that's happening really tonight. It is our 3rd annual Hanukkah party.
We're watching it tomorrow. Then how's it happening tonight?
No, tonight is Wednesday night.
So but why are we watching it tomorrow? Then tomorrow would be Thursday.
No, this is like a Spaceballs. When's now? Now is now. You just missed it.
Yeah, but you can't say now is the future when now.
No,
is
but
the
it
present.
is because people
But the
will
present
watch
is the
this
past.
on Wednesday morning.
Correct. So it's not tomorrow.
So no, he said tonight.
So when you're watching it tonight.
That's what I said.
No, you said tomorrow.
Let's go to the videotape.
There's one thing I need to mention because, I owe it to Gronk. I did drop a wide open 2-point conversion, like right off my hands. So, that was kind of disappointing. First, like real opportunity to do something significant for the team, and I dropped it. So Gronk, I said I'd mention it on TBI. I didn't want to let you down. That's what we do as cronies. We call, we do something wrong. We gotta own up to it. And I think I hopefully made it up for it with that sack and some other good plays in the field. So,
2 questions.
Yeah,
What's
One
happening
is,
tonight?
what did that have to do with the holiday party? And number 2, if you think Gronk watches this far into the episode, you're crazy.
We're 3 balls in and we 3 balls out. We all up on your screens like it's prime time's route. Mighty gets a score.